Guess what time it is?
What time is it?
It is time for a new episode of Spectral Evidence. Tonight, we have UFO enthusiast Steve DiMattea with us, and he's going to talk to us about UFOs and the whole subculture around it.
All the theories and everything involved.
Yep.
Really, an investigation, it's kind of different from UFO watching as an investigation. Investigation, you would actually sit there and go to a UFO hotspot where there has been, recorded evidence of lights, of UFOs in that area. Sedona, Arizona, for example. Nellis Air Force Range around Highway 375 in Nevada, right by the infamous Area 51, if you believe in those theories. That you would actually follow up with, interview people, go out there at night with cameras and video cameras and whatnot, and look for stuff, as opposed to UFO watching, where just one night you decide you and a group of people want to go out to a field or to a top of a very large hill and just watch. Supposedly there are theories on how you can signal UFOs and stuff. It really all depends on whether or not you believe them. There was this one prophet supposedly who could communicate or signal, the appearance of UFOs and stuff, and that was actually broadcasted on a news channel. You can search for that on YouTube. But as opposed to an investigation to UFO watching, investigation, there's a little bit more work you have to do to it, as opposed to just going out and looking in the sky.
So do we have any hot spots in New Hampshire?
The only one that I can think of off the top of my head would be actually Exeter, New Hampshire. Exeter every September, actually, it should be coming up. I'm not sure if they'll be doing it this year. I haven't heard anything. They usually have a whole UFO alien little celebration day kind of thing. That's where the infamous incident at Exeter took place. They usually have some panel speakers from MUFON that show up, a little parade and whatnot. There's also the site where Betty and Barney Hill were abducted back in the 1960s on Route 3 up north, and I believe it was Colebrook, New Hampshire. Those are really the only two that I can think of off the top of my head. New Hampshire has its own little culture in terms of that and its own little history, but I mean, if you want, larger hotspots, you got to go to where military installations are, for example. Theories are that UFOs tend to congregate and show up near military installations, military facilities, and whatnot. So,
now, how do you know that's just not top secret military aircraft being tested?
Truth, I don't. You have numerous eyewitness reports by not only normal citizens, civilians, but police officers, and even some military personnel who don't go against the will of the branch and disclose some of that information. Some of the stuff could be identified as top secret military aircraft, or it could be stuff that's completely unexplained. And if you want to go by some of the really obscure and kind of a little outlandish conspiracy theories, is that the military, working closely with the alien species and the alien culture that come down, that's their direct their ties to this planet. If you want to kind of delve into that.
Couldn't they just take us over?
Pardon me?
Couldn't they just take us over if they were so interested in us?
Maybe that's not their motive.
No. Okay.
Now, I know there's many theories. Maybe the government got involved and just allowed so many abductions. Did you hear anything about that?
Sure.
Can you elaborate more on that, or?
Sure. I mean, if you wanna kind of look at those theories, this could date back all the way to the 1940s with Roswell, even some of the Nazi UFO conspiracies as well. I'm not too familiar with those, but there are conspiracy theories where UFOs, alien culture, had descended upon Nazi Germany and tried to exchange some of their technology to work with Nazi-Iran Germany. But you could, excuse me, you could attribute some of the other theories to the fact that you know, the alien subculture did come down, and in exchange for technology, they gave us technology. We gave them the permission to abduct, you know, so many humans, whatnot, perform experiments, you know, to try and purify their race, purify our race, whatnot. So there are theories like that.
There's a lot of people that dismiss the fact just because they don't want to believe it.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, if you really break it down, it is a preposterous idea. Creatures from outer space, interdimensions, coming into your room, kidnapping you at night, bringing you aboard a spacecraft, and, you know, doing stuff to you. When you really break it down, it sounds really ridiculous. So, of course, there are going to be skeptics out there who completely don't believe it. And it is quite possible that the theories, that the alien abduction stories are just hallucinations. When the body enters REM sleep, your body becomes paralyzed. And your brain, that's when your brain is going through the most.
So you've mentioned alien contact with the government. What do you think is their objective?
Definitely, technology-wise, gaining an upper hand against other nations or against other intergalactic threats. You know, like I was talking about earlier, that supposedly the government had first alien contact back in the 40s and 50s, and Area 51, okay, we'll just throw it out there because it's an alien show we're talking about, so everybody knows about Area 51, that the government has constantly denied that there's any type of alien technology there and anything else like that, and that it's just plainly a military installation. It is an Air Force base. It is part of the Nellis Air Force Range in Nevada. Small little town, Rachel, Nevada, that's right by it. Highway 375 runs right up it. You know, there have been theories in the 1950s of back engineering and actually holding alien bodies there and alien technology. Back engineering is basically taking an unidentified craft, or anything for that matter, you know, a Russian spy plane, or, you know, German weapon or whatever, and basically taking it apart and finding how it works. There's this one physicist, Bob Lazar, who you Google him, and a bunch of stuff is going to come up. There's a bunch of information that discredits him, just because supposedly he worked for Area 51, supposedly he worked for the government, and supposedly he was back engineering UFOs for their technology. And he was let go from Area 51. And of course, there's going to be a bunch of people out there who are going to try and discredit him, government mainly, if that's even the case. Or maybe he was just putting on a show. Maybe he really didn't back engineer. But the whole point of it was they were back engineering UFO technology and found one particular element, element 115, something like that. I wish I had my periodic table with me. Basically, in layman's terms, the whole theory was the way that they were able to fly through space was a small reactor inside the spacecraft, that this element 115, you know, a chemical reaction would happen, bumping it up to element 116, and because element 116 was so unstable, it would immediately break down back to 115 and create amounts of energy. Don't cite me on that, because I'm not entirely positive, but watching UFO documentaries and doing research online and stuff, you know, that's what I can remember. You know, again, going back to the fact that in exchange for alien technology, the government would allow these alien species to perform various genetic testing on humans, alien abductions, or you know, cattle abductions, which I'm sure you've heard about. You know, these farmers waking up in the morning and going out to their fields and seeing these cows laying there on the ground dead with precision cuts in them, you know, whether it be in their head, their eyes gone, you know, particular instruments, you know, particular organs in their body gone, removed in such a way that, you know, a savage beast, you know, like a predator couldn't remove from them. You know, and touching upon the whole government, you know, cover-up, you know, you see all these television shows on TV. I mean, you're doing one right now. You know, you have Monster Quest and UFO Hunters and Destination Truth and Ghost Hunters and all of these, you know, television shows that are now just breaking out because so much of an interest has come into this subject. Like I said earlier, you know, over 50% of the American population believe that UFOs and aliens have been here. Evidence whatsoever that they can present to you. They present to you little snippets of stuff so they can let your mind wander. You know, I truly believe that as part of this whole government cover-up and whatever, you know, TV shows are being limited as to what they're being able to show. After you film something, you know, UFO hunters could find loads of stuff. Loads of you know, thought-provoking and revealing information on whatnot. But the networks and the government has to censor it, again, because of part of the cover-up. Which is why, you know, you'll watch these shows in anticipation for something, to see something, but you never do.
In Barney Hill, or
a phantom killer from Mars comes to organize a gang of Earthmen to kill our leading scientists and to steal their plans.
Who? What are you? I'm known as the Purple Monster, the forerunner of a great army from the planet Mars, which will soon swarm over your world and conquer it. I want you to aid me in assembling material for my jet plane.
Dr. Cyrus Layton, leading rocket scientist, his niece
In
Sheila...
your opinion, though, do you believe that the aliens are like the little green or gray men, or do you think it's, you know, could they be like us?
could be like us, could be, you know, the oval heads with the large black eyes, you know, the thin mouths, really thin bodies and whatnot. You know, are they the little, you know, tiny little green men with